This episode is brought to you by Resy and American Express. Resy is a digital platform that connects restaurants to restaurant lovers by elevating dining experiences, providing original industry content, and helping to fill some of the country's most exciting dining rooms. Because restaurants have always been more than just places to eat. The amazing world of restaurants is just a few taps away in the Resy app and at resy.com.
At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams and any size of budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibilities.
We asked applicants to actually develop a recipe outside of the test kitchen and submit it to us so we can see kind of what their development skills are like. And I did a cranberry nut muffin. And the first time I sent it in, they made it in the test kitchen. They called me up and they were like, it didn't work.
Shit.
And I was like, oh my God, no.
This is Taste. I'm your host, Matt Rodbard. It was such a blast having Dan Souza in the studio. Dan is the Chief Content Officer of America's Test Kitchen and the former Editor-in-Chief of Cooks Illustrated. Dan has such a great style in the way he talks about home cooking, and we talk all about his time working in food media before digging into a very cool and ambitious new drinks book, Cocktails Illustrated, 400-plus recipes for the home bartender from spirit forward to zero proof. And at the top of the show, it's the return of Three Things, where Eliza and I talk about what is exciting us in the world of restaurants, cookbooks, and the food world as a whole. Eliza, we are back with Three Things. How are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. I think this is our last Three Things of 2025.
It is. You know, it's like right after the Christmas holiday, at least when we're dropping this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording it in the past, but you know.
Yeah, but we are like in the thick of the holiday season.
Oh, we are there.
We're there.
Yeah. You know, how were your holidays? Let's just like go into it. How were they?
I mean, great. Trying to eat a lot of latkes, doing the best I can, keeping at it.
Yeah.
Do you want to give your first thing?
I will. I went to a restaurant called Motek. Have you heard of Motek?
No.
Motek is a restaurant group that started in Miami and has since moved to New York, the Flatiron District, and it's kind of becoming this crazy phenomenon. They are going to be opening 2 more locations next year, one in Midtown and one in Williamsburg. You know, the food is it is kosher and kosher adjacent. There are there's a kosher kitchen and you can order full kosher, but you don't have to. And I just like what's going on there. It was so crowded when I went. And I think everyone had either labna or hummus on the table. And it's kind of in that zone of Mediterranean cooking. You know, there were some Moroccan cigars, which are like those terrific oversized fried phyllo dough cigar-shaped pockets, you know, of, this one had beef and lamb and shug and some lemon tahini on it. And I love that. We also tried the lamb shawarma, which I thought was pretty good. Wasn't my favorite dish, but the schnitzel is legendary. So I'm just like really curious about these like big box Mediterranean restaurants taking over New York. I think this is definitely a movement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. What's your first thing?
My first thing is that I recently went to a great pop-up that my friend Katerina Liakos was doing at Hanamakali in Brooklyn. Katerina does Greek-style food. She is Greek and grew up in her parents' restaurants in Massachusetts. And I think I first met her when she was cooking at Wild Air/Contra. Maybe both. Maybe one. But she has been, cooking around the city. She was upstate for a while. And now she's doing this pop-up series called Katerina after her name. And it was one of the coldest, probably the coldest day of the year so far when I rolled up. And I had really just delicious, comforting Greek-style food. My favorites were this kabocha squash orzo that she was doing that had this really delicious cheese. I believe it's called Myzithra cheese. Very, creamy, but also kind of flaky and like an aged cheese, and also a short rib gigante bean dish that had a avgolemono sauce on top. I feel like my Greek and all of that was not great.
No,
but
you got it. You avgolemono.
Avgolemono?
Yeah, which I made last night randomly.
Oh, really?
I actually made that last night.
It's a great winter soup.
It really
and
is.
I think to have it was almost like a soup sauce kind of combination,
Yeah.
like over the beans and the lamb.
Yeah.
I thought that was really special. And then a rice pudding for dessert with lychee and cardamom, which I thought was a really nice combination. I believe Katerina is planning some more pop-ups in the new year and potentially a brick and mortar, maybe outside of New York. So we'll have to see about that. But certainly like even the kabocha at Orzo squash alone would be my first thing.
I will link to it in the show notes and follow.
What's your next thing?
My next thing is our friend Claire Saffitz did a collab with Salt and Straw. And Claire's a friend, and I was over at her place this summer while she was doing some testing for this collaboration. I have to tell you, Claire was putting in the work. I think she had a dozen samples that she was working through, and the final results landed. And truly one of my favorite ice creams in a very long time, pineapple upside down cake.
Wow.
So you pop the top, and there's this layer of like pineapple juice, butter, caramel reduction that pools up the top. It's almost like those cores at Ben & Jerry's. So like, I went through that layer, which is amazing. And then I got to the actual ice cream, which is really, it's like pineapple juice sweetened cream ice cream, like this like blend that was like perfectly done with a little bit of cinnamon and salt in it. And then you go deeper in and you actually have the piece, like the cake, the actual upside down cake is in there. And unbelievable. It was like, I don't really, this is not like one of my go-to pastries, the pineapple upside down cake, but as in ice cream form, nothing better. I loved it. She also did a chewy molasses cookie with rum caramel as well, and I liked it. But this, man, Salt and Straw collab with her, and I think it's still available by now. I know we're speaking in the past about the future, but I'm going to link to it. If it's available, you got to buy it. And maybe if it's not, maybe they'll put it on as a main thing because it's great.
Yeah, my mouth is doing that pineapple watering thing right now as you talk about it.
Puckering. I love that when that fresh pineapple juice. Great job, Claire. Nice work. What's your next thing?
My next thing is that I went to have a really great lunch at the Dashi Okume store in Brooklyn. Have you been here before?
I have. There's another restaurant within that space, right?
Yeah. So this is like
back,
a big kind of, I think it's a former warehouse space in Greenpoint that has been taken over by Dashi Okume, which has had a stall at the famous Tokyo Fish Market since 1871. And they have a really cool stand where you can make your own. They sell different dashi mixes, or you can kind of curate, customize your own dashi mix based specifically on what kind of fish you want to have or what kind of flavor profile you want the dashi to have. But they have two lunch places inside of them. And one of the ones that I went to does this like really perfect Japanese set lunch. So you choose what fish you want. Comes with a miso soup made from their house dashi, of course. And then there's rice, pickled cucumbers, and then a couple sides you can choose from. They were out of a lot of sides when I was there, so I did not get to have the simmered kabocha, which would have been my go-to, but I had really great like agadashi eggplant and a mushroom dish, and I think we are lucky to have an increasing amount of places that do this kind of traditional Japanese breakfast lunch set, but I thought this one was really special.
Yeah, Dashikune, right?
Yes.
It's a cool spot, and you can get your custom dashi blends to make at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you go for lunch, and then you can bring something back with you. A lot of people were doing their holiday shopping at Dashi Okume when I was there.
Perfect
cool
winter trip out to Greenpoint.
What's your last thing?
My last thing is another perfect winter trip in New York. It is a little restaurant that some may know called Superiority Burger. I just like have to keep saying that this is truly one of New York's best restaurants. And I say this because the menu is changing all the time. If you check out their Instagram, there's always specials on. And these recent specials I had were amazing. And like, if you're in the city over the holidays or into January, like they're open for lunch, like Wednesday through Sunday. It's like a really good spot. Like it's really consistent, puts you in a great neighborhood in New York. And I just can't say enough about it. They had done a griddled yuba with Dijon mayo and pickles, which I love that combination in a sandwich. Just like this yuba is like Brooks knows his way around tofu skin, and it's always surprising me. He did a barbecued carrots dish with fried tofu and dill crema and masa chips. There's always an interesting dessert. He's griddling a lot of carrot cakes recently, griddled carrot cakes, nice amount of butter and some kind of, syrup or a scoop of ice cream or gelato on top. But I just think along with the classics like the burnt broccoli salad and, of course, the superiority burger and those great fries, there's always surprises. So, like, if I lived in the East Village, I'd be there weekly because it's such a great restaurant.
Yeah, I want to shout out my 2 go-to orders at Superiority Burger, one of which is the date shake, which is a ice cream vanilla shake that has the really delicious kind of like fudgy dates pureed through it, which is a kind of Southern California classic that I've never really seen in New York except for there. Yeah. And then the collard green cheese focaccia sandwich that they do is just a huge slab of focaccia that's been stuffed with melted cheese and collard greens. And it's something that I just make at home when I have those things around. But like the best version of it is definitely there.
I love it. And his focaccia is all world. It's so great.
It's so good.
And I'm like, Brooks, you got to do those focaccia sandwiches at lunch. So he's maybe thinking about doing something like that. Just going to say it here.
Okay.
I say it enough. Maybe
manifesting.
Manifest it.
Yeah. My last thing is another thing that I just really enjoyed eating recently, which is the French onion soup brioche that Tanya Bush is doing at Little Egg. Tanya, my business partner, my platonic life partner, but also the main person who provides me with pastries. And I think this one is really special. I love a savory pastry because I'm not a big egg eater at breakfast. And this one is just really like perfectly proofed, squishy brioche stuffed with a lot of this kind of French onion soup, like cheesy, almost like I think it might have mushrooms in it too. Like a Danish, basically, but all savory and without that cream cheese, just this like kind of beautiful soupy filling. I was eating it at the Press Playbook Fair that I was at recently, and I had many people come up to me to ask if we were selling it, where I could get it, and I just said no to them and ate it all myself, which is maybe selfish, but I've thought about it every morning since.
I love Little Egg. And Tanya, can we just say she has a book coming out next year?
She does. Will This Make You Happy?
Yeah.
On Chronicle Books.
Yeah.
Coming soon to the Taste Podcast.
Yeah, I'll be talking to Tanya about that early next year. Can't wait to dig into that. And a reminder, Superiority, Little Egg, great 1-2 punch if you're in New York City.
Yeah, they're not geographically close, but you could spread it out.
And spiritually close.
Spiritually, they are
Freedom
close,
places.
yeah.
I love it. Thanks for sharing your 3 things.
You too.
Hi there, it's Matt, co-host of the show. We are currently running a This Is Taste listener survey, and we'd love to hear from you. Do you have a guest request? A restaurant you wish we'd visit to talk about on 3 things? What about a lesser-known cookbook author who deserves a spot in our studio chair? You can let us know by clicking the link in our show notes to complete the survey. It will only take a couple minutes, I swear, and will help us continue to make the best show possible. That's the This Is Taste listener survey, link in our show notes. From February 20th to March 7th, dive into Canada's biggest culinary festival, Montreal en Lumière, an exclusive partnership with the McCord Stewart Museum and its exhibition, On the Menu, Montreal, a restaurant story. The 2026 festival invites food lovers on a flavorful journey through time. Montreal's top restaurateurs will reimagine 65 years of the city's iconic gastronomy, crafting inventive, nostalgia-inspired dishes with a modern twist. Prepare your palate. World-renowned chefs, including several Michelin-starred talents, will team up with over 80 of Montreal's finest local chefs to create unforgettable, one-of-a-kind menus. The full program is available at montrealenlumiere.com. Presented by Lotto Quebec in collaboration with National Bank. Dan Souza, welcome to This Is Taste. How are you?
I'm great. I'm pumped to be here.
America's Test Kitchen, we'll get into that. Your podcast, and you have a new book about cocktails that's I have a lot of questions about.
Yes.
The cocktail book in 2025. Before we get into that, though, Boston. Where are you dining out? What's good in Boston? I haven't been up there in a while. I know you're on the scene.
Yeah, we've noticed that you haven't been up in a while.
I know. I'm going to visit your studio at some point.
Yeah.
I can't wait
I'd love
to see
to.
it.
And I'd love to show you some of my favorite spots. So Boston is a really interesting food scene. I think people have this belief that it's like stuck in time, and you can go and you get great oysters and seafood, and it's totally true. You can get the classics, but there's some really fun restaurants. There's one called Mahaniom, which is owned by my buddy Boong, and he and his wife, he's Thai, and they basically are just doing a very small curated menu of stuff that they love. There's some hits that have been on there a long time, but he's always mixing things in too, and it's like super casual vibe, and the food's like electric. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite spots.
Is Boston still a seafood town? Or is
yes.
that like maybe misinformation?
No, it totally is. And I actually think there's been this great renaissance. For a long time, there was like, sort of old school oyster bars that weren't doing like craft necessarily. And then like with the influx of like Island Creek coming in from like Duxbury and like taking over some spots, Select Oyster Bar. There's a lot of places that I've kind of brought it back to its glory. So it's an amazing place for seafood. And I've tons of spots that I love there. But it's just so much more than that now. There's another restaurant I love called Pammy's. Pam and Chris Willis. It's over in Cambridge, kind of near Central and Harvard Square. And it's just a great, great restaurant. Like it's Italian influenced, but so creative and so interesting. You get dishes that are like, it looks just like cabbage, like really, really simple, but the layers of flavor are there.
Yeah.
They have a huge wood-burning fireplace in their dining room, so it's one of the coziest places to be in Boston.
Have you been to Jamie Bissonette's Korean restaurant?
Yes, I have.
Tell me about this place.
It's very good. It's very good. Yeah, and it's like right by the Common, so sort of like very downtown.
Yeah.
I love Korean food, and one of my favorite things is the banchan. He's got really interesting offerings.
Yeah.
But everything's good, really.
I can't wait to stop by. I mean, Boston. Great food city.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
before we talk about cocktails, let's hear about your story because some of our listeners might not know, but you worked in the industry. You attended the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
You worked in kitchens in New York and Boston and overseas. What were these jobs, Dan? What were you up to? Were you working the line? Were you what was your professional background?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my entry point, it was not that usual. It was not that common. I was teaching English in Hungary for a year, and I was like kind of a crappy English teacher. Like I thought I'd be really good because I love words and I love writing, but it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
And one of my students in the evening, I taught these adult courses, was the chef at the local restaurant. This is like a village restaurant. There's maybe 1,000 people in the town. And I asked if I could just like come and hang with him on Sundays and cook, and he let me do it. And so we would cook like scratch Hungarian country cooking for like wedding parties and do all this amazing stuff. And that's where I really got the sort of the bug bit me, where I was like, this is cool. Like actually preparing food for people and seeing that feedback loop was really satisfying. So when I came back to the States, I was working in advertising for a little bit, like enjoying it, it was a creative sort of outlet, but really wanted to be in food still. And so I worked at Restaurant Dante when it opened up in Cambridge in Mass, and really great Italian food and handmade pastas. And so I started to learn that. And I made my way around that kitchen. And I realized at that point, like I love school and I love really like linear learning experiences. So I did go to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. Did a couple years there to just, put it all in place. Like you can learn at different restaurants, but then this gives you that sort of roadmap.
Did it kick your ass? Was it really, because you'd worked a little bit in the industry, but you weren't like a 5-year vet or anything.
Yeah.
Was it tough?
Some classes were really hard.
Flex, I like it.
Yeah.
Some classes were hard.
No,
but
some were. And
I was kind of sick with the knives.
And some weren't as bad, but it's like you have all these holes in your skill set if you haven't been in the industry a long time.
Totally.
But and the pastry courses, I'm much more of a cook than a pastry person, and so those were like eye opening and really great, but a little hard. And then so when I finished that up, I really wanted to work in fine dining. I wanted to see what that was like. So I did a short stint at Le Bernardin here in the city, and I've always been like a huge seafood person. So this was like my dream.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to work with incredible seafood from all over the world, be in like a true like French Brigade, Michelin sort of restaurant environment. And that kicked my butt every single day. I was doing like 80, 90 hours a week, 6 days a week. And it was amazing. But I also looked around and realized like there are guys that are much better line cooks than I am. And I want to do other stuff with food too. So that's when I sort of made my way to the test kitchen, and it just brought this perfect blend for me. Like I love science, so there's a ton of science in what we do. I love that sort of iterative process of figuring out a recipe. I love writing, and it turns out, I didn't know this at the time, that like I like doing TV and video and stuff like that. So those opportunities sort of open up for me.
But tell me about coming to the test kitchen, because it's kind of a legendary pipeline. I mean, some of our editors here at Crown, many of our writers have gone through that that system that you run now? What's it like applying for America's Test Kitchen out of this restaurant job?
You know, it's funny because it's a transition, right? You're used to sort of grinding in a restaurant, and it's a sort of office/restaurant, so it's a different sort of vibe. But the hiring process is pretty challenging. You go through a bench test where you're actually like making published recipes in front of editors and cooks to see kind of how you move in the kitchen, what you think of measuring. We do so much measuring, which is very not kind of restaurant-y. And to see, what you pick up within the recipe itself. We really care so much about recipes and what's written on the page.
Yeah.
And then we have them write a story in the style of Cooks Illustrated, which is, our sort of flagship magazine. And all of that comes together to see like, okay, this person, is a great cook, which is the foundational element, but like they think analytically and they think broadly about food, and they can sort of bring it all together. It's a little bit like a unicorn hire is what we're looking for.
It really is. I mean, it says a lot about this application process and about this how serious you are about the validity of recipes. And clearly, you have to have a lot of skills. You can't just be a sick cook. You have to actually be able to write. So take us back to your tryout. What was your dish? And were you kind of nervous cooking in front of editors?
I totally was nervous. Yeah, I was. So there was this like skillet roasted chicken dish that I had to do, and then these chewy sugar cookies. And the chicken I wasn't so super worried about. The cookies, like I just wanted to get it perfect, like the right number of cookies, the right size, all that kind of stuff. That actually all went pretty smoothly. But there's one element of that I didn't even mention here is we asked applicants to actually develop a recipe outside of the test kitchen and submit it to us so we can see kind of what their development skills are like. And I did a cranberry nut muffin. And the first time I sent it in, they made it in the test kitchen. They called me up and they were like, it didn't work.
Shit.
And I was like, oh my God, no. I was like, I really wanted this job. And they loved my essay, but they were like, we're going to give you another shot at it because we like your story. And so I went back to it. And it turned out I had just done there was a fraction that I had done wrong in terms of one of the chemical leaveners, like whether it was the soda or the powder. And it was like an older version. And so as soon as I fixed that, it was fine.
Oh, I mean, that's part of the process is making the edit, right?
Yes.
And they give you the grace to maybe mess up the fractional. What? You did a baking recipe? Was that required?
Yeah, it had to be, I think, either a muffin or a cupcake or something along those lines.
Oh, man.
They wanted that more exacting sort of approach.
Of course.
Yeah.
Remarkable. So for our listeners who maybe don't know the full power of ATK, America's Test Kitchen, and I say power because you really are a superpower when it comes to, cooking and media. I mean, you're on television. You've got these great books. You've got magazines. Tell us all about what goes into the ATK world right now.
Yeah. So I would say that we definitely punch above our weight. We've got about 220 people in the company.
Yeah.
We've got about 40 test cooks. So the folks that we just talked about hiring, and editors and equipment reviewers sort of all come together. But yeah, I would say that we are, don't quote me on this, but probably the most multimedia food media business there is because we are in basically every single channel. We've got our two classic flagship PBS shows, America's Test Kitchen and Cook's Country, which you can also find on all the streamers as well. We have 2 seasons of an Amazon show that we did called Next Generation, which was really fun. We have a robust YouTube channel with a lot of great originals, huge social media presence. We do about 10 cookbooks a year. We have our flagship magazine, Cooks Illustrated. Mm-hmm. We do live events as well. So yeah.
2 podcasts.
2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Basically, if there's a distribution channel for that content, we have it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there's just this one core sort of ethos to everything that we do, which is we feel that, helping people cook really, really great food is fundamental, not just to what they eat, but to their entire life, right? If you're cooking, you're probably eating healthier. You're probably bringing people around you so you're less lonely. And the more success you have, the more times you go back to the kitchen. So we just work on recipes and equipment reviews with real rigor. And then we figure out the best way to give that information to you.
It's interesting because, while all the publications down here in New York, are fighting it out and there's ups and downs at Food and Wine and Bon Appetit and Saveur has had multiple iterations and truly ups and downs for all publishers. ATK has been consistent. I mean, I know it's not easy.
Not easy.
But there's something about being not in New York, about this bench test at the center of your work that is not the case at the other, national media brands that are more lifestyle.
Totally.
Has that been a little bit of the secret to your success in some ways?
I think so. I think it's a very clear mission that anyone who walks in that building can understand and then get behind. So I would say that's it. And we, we are much faster and more on trend than we ever have, but we've never tried to be like flashy in a way. Like it's a really honest brand, which I think especially in 2025 people are looking for. And I think the biggest part of our business that's growing the most is our app, which is, basically the best place to cook from. 15,000 recipes. They're all tested the way that we just talked about. Everything's sort of at your fingertips. So I think we're doing what we need to in order to like keep moving forward, but we keep that really strong brand promise.
And that's like a subscription and a revenue stream for the app?
Yes. Yeah, it is. And we're constantly updating. It's like I think a 4.9 star app now, and we've been working on the tech side and then also on the food side.
Is that like meaningful revenue for you guys from the app?
Definitely. Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just the New York Times cooking out there, guys.
It's not. And no, it's a really, really strong app. And we have we put a lot into we have this thing called cook mode where you actually can watch the test cook like go through each step of the recipe, just like the way you'd like thumb through on Instagram. So it's like the closest we can get to putting a test cook like your house to teach you something.
With like the time going on the right corner, so you're like actually in cook mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're in it and getting direct instruction.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, I wanted to ask you this question because I think it's something that I think about a lot. We have a lot of guests on the show who are kind of on both sides of the coin, and it's creator recipe content.
Mm-hmm.
There's really been a boom, obviously. TikTok and Reels, there's newly anointed celebrities and personalities who are really recipe-centric. They're cooking things for their audience, dishes, maybe projects, lots of things. Some are great, some are not. It's not really the question. I want to know, how do you think about these creators when it comes to the accuracy and like the way that some of these recipes feel a little fast and loose, which is not really the tendency of ATK. It must, totally. I'm just going to say, it must make you feel something like a sinking feeling inside, a little anxiety when you see like these creators with all this, this platform with maybe bullshit recipes.
Yeah. So it's funny because so it doesn't make me feel that anxious, and I'll tell you why. One is that this has kind of existed forever, and it may not have been individual creators. We didn't have Instagram before, but the amount of free recipe content on the internet is just massive, and it dominates what we have in our archive. But there's a huge difference between a recipe, as you know, that's been like tested and put through the process and is truly foolproof, and the technique is smart and all that, than everything that's out there. So we're never really ever going to win against like, it's just free. If you just want free and the quality is questionable, totally fine. The other thing is I actually am like a huge social video evangelist. I've learned so much from watching social video, and the fact that like in 45 seconds, like you can do all the brain rot you want on there too, but in 45 seconds you could pick up like a new technique or a new ingredient or something you haven't seen before. And so we spend an inordinate amount of time distilling all of the testing that we do on a recipe down to 45-second reels for Instagram and for TikTok that really can teach you something that you can change the way you cook that night. So I think it's really, really wonderful. And I also think there are creators out there that are doing a fabulous job. And I've actually recruited 6 of them for what is the ATK residency.
Cool.
And so they've come on board and they spend time at ATK developing recipes with us. But they're really like high quality. They're book publishers. Nick Sharma is one, Aaron Goyaga, like these amazing people in the industry who share the ethos of ATK.
Oh yeah, and like I would never call Nick a creator.
Sure. No, I'm not saying that you're
but
right.
I think you're right. Like, and I love the response. It's really smart, and I think I learn a lot as well from vertical video. And I also don't cook the same way as you and your colleagues. I kind of like that little improvisational. If it comes off a little bit fast and loose with the measurements, I'm cool with that. Especially obviously for savory. I mean, when you're baking, let's not mess around. But you guys feel that social video is a great way to learn to cook.
I really do. I mean, so, if you read Cook's Illustrated magazine, it's a 1,000-word story and we go super deep and you might sit on the couch and enjoy that. But like when you're riding the subway, you might just be flipping through and like that distillation of whatever we figured out there, we can still teach you over here of like an easier way to cook a steak. And I kind of love that. I think there's so much bad out there in that world, but like there's also good if you really look for it.
Let's talk about home cooks. I want to know, like when you're in your meetings with your staff, what are some of the big challenges right now facing home cooks?
So I think there's one big overarching challenge for home cooks that home cooks didn't experience, let's say 50, 60 years ago, is the appetite for the kinds of recipes and the scope and the diversity of recipes is very, very high, while the skill set is not in the same place it was. And this is for good reason, right? So we used to learn through sort of apprenticeship from a parent or a grandparent, and you would learn a sort of a canon of recipes that they would make. Maybe there's like 40 recipes. Maybe it's Italian because that's your lineage. And so you'd learn those 40 Italian recipes, and then you'd make them your own and make them over and over again and sort of perfect them. Nowadays, we often don't get that apprenticeship coming up. So we're learning from cookbooks and all these different places, which is wonderful. But the skill, the hands-on skill set isn't quite there. But what you want to make is like, I want to make incredible like miso ramen one night, and then I want to make a really good Thai curry, and then I want to know how to make like prime rib. So we want to do a lot more, and we often have less. So we sort of approach that in a couple of ways. Is one, we do tons of instruction. So we have like an actual classes, like an ATK cooking classes, which is online if you want to build those skills. But we build it into kind of every recipe too. You'll see the same technique used over 15,000 recipes so that you get that sort of repetitive learning there. And then we try to break down recipes and make them really approachable, even if they're not from, the set of recipes that you sort of grew up sort of understanding.
Yeah.
So I think that's one. I think the other is just time.
Yeah.
It is, everyone is hurried and racing through the day. And so we have this huge emphasis on what we call dinner tonight. It's like basically a franchise within ATK. And we do recipes that are, 30 minutes max. And a lot of them are much shorter than that. Still with the same like testing, and they're still foolproof, but the focus is on like, how do you get dinner on the table on like a Tuesday or Wednesday night and have it be amazing every time?
Give me one, example, because I think people are tired and don't have all the ingredients but want to cook, don't want to hit seamless, don't want to do frozen something. Give me one just off the top of your head, like one that's like very easy.
There's one that I make probably not but every other week, which is pasta e ceci. So it's pasta and chickpeas. It uses canned chickpeas in a small pasta shape like ditalini.
Yeah.
You build this. The only hard part, and I'm just like putting that in air quotes, is like just cooking out a really nice sofrito. So you got whatever vegetables. You got onion, you have tomato paste, some anchovy, whatever you like. Cook that out. And then in goes your pasta with some water, and that cooks. Chickpeas go at the end. Olive oil, and it's protein. It's really good carbs, so it's like fiber and protein. You can get a little bit of meat in there too if you want pancetta. It's wonderful that night, but like stews, it's great the next day as well. So it's things like that are you sort of one pot, one bowl approaches to cooking.
Yeah, I love that. I think when you split the pasta in half and you add chickpeas to it, it's a great way to negotiate too much pasta.
Yes.
Because I want to eat pasta every day.
Same.
I'm pretty committed
I'm right there
to this.
with you. Yeah. I'm pretty committed to this.
I've had pasta the last 3 nights being at home, and but our bodies sometimes
want more than that.
Want more than pasta. So like the idea of like splitting the base and having more chickpeas is really smart. I'm sure you could use white beans or other legumes, that would fit into that kind of that dynamic. Let's move on to the cocktail book. The idea of the cocktail book. You're releasing one right now. So fascinating, and so happy you're here because I think you've thought this through. How do you write a cocktail book in 2025 when it's obvious that people are drinking less?
Well, so it's interesting. It's sort of our approach for food, but applied to cocktails, which is why I think our book is really unique. We think like cooks in a way. And, in the same way that like people might be eating less fried chicken than they were before, but when they eat it, they want it to be really, really good. That's sort of our approach to cocktails is like, cut it down. Cut it down to like, are you having one drink a week on Friday night, whatever it is? But like, you can make that drink really incredible. It can be handmade. It can feel really special. And you don't have to go to a bar and spend, because not everyone has crazy money right now either. So we approach it from that perspective. But we also realize that even at that point, there's people who just want zero proof. They don't want any alcohol. And so we've built in over 50 recipes that are zero proof, which could be its own cookbook. We make cookbooks with a lot of recipes. We add a ton of value there. So it's over 400 recipes total.
Wow.
But 50 of those are non-alcoholic. And we spent just as much time developing those and really working on them.
I love how the book really digs into the science of flavor. I think you're thinking about how the fizz works in a spritz. Like, what is that carbonation doing to the actual cocktail? And let me just ask you, how do you get people to shift that attention from going out and having drinks at a bar to doing it more at home? I think some people think it may be more difficult, but also there's clearly, when you think about the science of the cocktail, when you're making your own, you're really controlling all the elements, and there's something really nice about that.
I agree. I mean, look, like I'm a huge science geek, so like I will enjoy it just for the science of it. But what we really try to get across with science, and it's not like the scary capital S science
right.
from like high school.
It's modernist cuisine, science, scariness.
We really think of it more as the why behind what you're doing there. So if I demonstrate for you, like I take a martini and I shake one as like James Bond would do, and then I stir one, which is, sort of the more craft version of doing it, you can taste them side by side and realize like the shaken one is like lighter and fluffier and much more diluted and less intense. The stirred one is going to be like almost rich and oily in this beautiful way. And so there's incredible science behind like just dilution and chilling there. But the end result is like, oh, I like this or I like that. The same thing with fizz, understanding, we just think about, okay, there's bubbles in a bottle, but there's a lot going on there. Yeah. And adding bubbles to a drink does a number of things that when carbon dioxide's in solution, it actually acts like an acid, carbonic acid on your tongue. So it adds acidity to your drink. Yep. And then when it comes out of solution and then comes to the surface and pops and explodes, it brings all these aroma compounds up. So you're actually smelling your drink more. So we have these wonderful spreads in the book that go into the science of fizz, the science of shaking. And if you just want to make a drink, you can just blow past those and make your drink. But I think it's really great reading, and it helps you appreciate the thing that's in your glass. And if you're trying to drink less, I think that's really nice too, where you're focused on the elements that are in there.
I love that you talk about aroma because you forget about that. But like when you're at a great bar, a big part of that experience is having, either it be a citrus, a blast of citrus, or as you said, the carbonation will bring some of those base elements to the surface, and you'll know what you're drinking.
Yeah.
How do you think about when you're like going through your list of cocktails about like the full, not just what's in the glass and drinking it, but like the full, like it could be like the visual elements too.
Yeah. Well, I think this is where cocktails are really fun. First of all, it's very quick and easy to make a cocktail. Yeah. So there's sort of once you have the stuff in your house, it's very low barrier to entry, and you can play with the formula. You can be like, I try this, try that. So I really like that aspect of it, but it kind of hits on like everything humans are interested in and are good at. So there's like differences in like temperature. There's differences in color. I mean, some of the colors are incredible. There's aromas, there's taste. And there's sort of an art to garnishing drinks. So I feel like they're like little craft projects sort of all on their own. But yeah, in terms of aesthetics, we have a section in the book on making clear ice. So if you go to any nice bar in New York, and they put this like gorgeous clear cube in your drink, it just looks cool. It looks amazing. You can see through it. And so it's totally doable at home, and it's not even that hard. We have a couple different ways of doing it, but you're basically putting an ice cube tray with like a towel around it in a baking dish. So it's directionally freezing. All of the clear ice starts on top, and all the impurities get pushed to the bottom. And you have these clear cubes that you'd be spending, $25 for a drink to contain it right there. So fun stuff like that. But also we talk about how to like chill your glassware ahead of time so that it feels right in your hand. Yeah. Anyway, there's a sort of there's a huge movement around mindfulness and sort of like focus. And I'm not saying you have to drink to be mindful, but like there is, if you just pay attention to the elements, you're going to feel pride in that thing that you made. And there is a sort of focus and concentration that makes the experience a lot nicer.
We're in the holiday zone.
Yes.
And we're hosting a lot. How do you think about hosting with cocktails, be a cocktail party or just like a dinner that has a nice cocktail service? Do you have like an idea of what you want to do to be the best host? Are you doing like a station with like batched? Are you doing one by one so everyone gets their own order? Like, how do you think about this?
Yeah. So in my younger days, I tried to like be the bartender at parties, Same. And it's like fun and you're doing it, but then like you're in your entire night is just making drinks, which isn't really the point of having the party. So I think batching is an amazing way to do it. We have some we call them fridge door cocktails, but you can make it, pop in the fridge, and you can either, pour it over ice or shake it depending on the drink involved. But we also have a lot of punches in the book, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. And I don't know about you, but when I go to a party and I see a punch bowl with like a gorgeous, like constructed ice ring in there, like it just feels special. And then you're just done. I mean, you refresh it maybe halfway through the night, but people go back to it, and I think that's a wonderful way to do it.
So you're probably not putting Sprite in there. I'm just saying.
You're probably not putting Sprite in there, but I think that punches are probably one of the less expensive drinks to sort of put out there. But yeah, people just love them, and then you could have a couple of batched ones, and then beer and wine, and I feel like it's easy. It doesn't have to be hard for a party.
It's like communal as well.
Yeah.
So like you don't have like that crippling choice that you have to make between 3 drinks that you're offering. It's like everyone gets the same thing. Let's talk NA.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is sweetness. I think you probably have a similar opinion because your palate is solid. So I think like a lot of restaurants try to do NA, but they're just cloyingly sweet.
Yeah, I agree.
And how did you negotiate this big kind of challenge with NA cocktails?
So we use obviously a lot of juices in some of these drinks here, and looking for like unsweetened versions of things, especially like a sour cherry juice, and pomegranate juice, things like that.
Very cool.
That bring like really high acidity, often really good body, which can be lacking in zero proof drinks, but without a ton of sugar. And we're not adding a lot of simple syrup to these drinks. And then to balance out what sweetness is there, we have some nice strategies. We use a lot of brewed tea, and you can use full strength tea that has caffeine, or if you don't want that, you can use decaffeinated teas. What you're really getting out of it is this depth, this maltiness, especially with black teas, and astringency.
Yep.
So that like drying feeling on your tongue that you get from red wines and that you get from really strongly brewed teas. So we'll balance it out with that as well. And some strategies around that.
I love it. I mean, that's giving body as well.
Yeah,
having tea. I love tea because I think what we don't want is it to taste like Kool-Aid, which has no body at all. It's basically sugar water, so there's no real particles in there that are giving you that kind of that body that makes a cocktail feel like a cocktail.
Yes.
But thinking about tea is cool. Like, are you basically just like batching up some like non-caffeinated teas and adding that as like one of the components?
You can do it that way. In some of the recipes, we have it combined with maybe some other spices.
Yeah.
So you make like sort of a tincture out of that.
Yeah.
And that's used in there as well. And then, there's really good non-alcoholic aromatic bitters now too.
Yeah.
Which can be super grounding for a drink and give you that sort of bitter edge as well.
Love that. What about the big bottles of those NA like substitutes?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the brands, but I've had mixed results with them. Some are great, some are not.
Yeah. We find some of the like Amaros and aperitivi, like those, a lot of those are quite good.
Yes,
and the
for
NA
sure.
beers and things like that. The actual like mock gins and mock vodkas and stuff like that, we tested them. We test products in the same way that we do recipes, and we weren't really impressed across the board. It felt like too much. I don't know. They're trying really hard to copy something when at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is make a delicious drink, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a Manhattan. It can have a lot of the qualities of a Manhattan. Like we have this drink called the Traverse City that has unsweetened sour cherry juice and aromatic bitters, and it's got the Lapsang Shusang tea in there.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of those same like cherry, oaky, rich flavors, but we're not trying to mimic, whiskey in that same way.
I love that. Shout out to Northern Michigan too.
Yeah.
Nice call there.
Yeah, I know. I love the name of the drink. I think it's great.
It's a great drink. And yeah, I think with these NA gins, it's like you can nail the botanicals, but you can't get the astringency and body of alcohol. And it just tastes like flower water.
And they're expensive, I mean,
They
they're
sure
not
are,
maybe
yeah.
as expensive as booze, but you don't need them, and you can make great drinks with more kind of common ingredients you already have.
Thank you for doing it that way.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you weren't like married to like this one product and it's in like half of your NA drinks.
No, not at all. And I think across the board, we wanted to, there's sort of a capsule of alcohols and things that you can buy that you can make like probably 90% of the drinks in the book, and then there's, some fun extras if you want to go that way.
Give me your typical day. And like when you're in Boston working, I know you're the boss guy, so you've got a lot of boss stuff to do. But when you're actually doing the editorial, what's like a day like for you?
Yeah, so I'm very very busy these days. I run basically all of our content teams, so everything we talked about from like TV to podcasts to magazines and cookbooks. So I'm meeting with the great people that run all of those different teams a lot, and making like big decisions about what cookbook do we want to do next, or what do we want to do for a new TV show. So that's really fun stuff. I'm in in the kitchen when it comes to creating video content primarily, but I do get to like show up and go to a lot of tastings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not like developing recipes in the way that I used to. You have to give up some things as you sort of move on. But I get to taste a ton of stuff, and there are so many recipes. We have a Slack channel that's just like, this is ready, this is ready, this is ready. And so you bounce up from your chair, you go in there, and you're, with 10 people, really smart food people, just like picking apart a dish and getting into it. And that's a part that like keeps me there and keeps me really engaged.
It's got to be really exciting.
Yeah.
What's a recipe that the team has been really working on that you feel like you are seeing the Slack come back V2, V3, V4, V5?
Yeah. So there's a great guy, Steve, who works primarily on Cook's Illustrated recipes. So like very deep dive, a lot of science. And he was working on a recipe for cacio e pepe. One that like you can't mess up, you can't break, but without adding cream to the mix, with just like the core ingredients.
Wow.
And he was playing around with it a ton. And that's like fast too. Like it's ready, come and get it. And he found some really cool stuff using, starch, the starchy pasta water, like really concentrated to help get an emulsion that like won't break.
Are we talking about double starchy water?
Yeah.
A double stock, basically?
At least double, yeah. So like instead of, 4 quarts of water, you're using like 2 or 1.5 quarts of water for the same amount of pasta. And it gets like super cloudy, like milky almost. And that additional starch will help sort of bridge the gap between the fat that you're introducing and all of the water, and makes that cheese melt really beautifully.
That's like a great CPG idea. It's like double stock in cubes
Yeah.
or double stock in the Tetra Pak.
It's true, yeah.
I'm thinking, sorry, potential founders out there, there's an idea for you. Well, it's so much fun having you on. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. If you're one of those last-minute shoppers, you might know the feeling. Ideas are running low and the clock is ticking. Here's a fun idea. Aura Frames. Aura Frames is a solution with a gift that feels personal, a little curated, and sent with love. And a gift that can be purchased in no time with a few clicks of the mouse. Aura Frames are great. They sent me one to check out, and it was really cool and dumb simple to set up. I loaded photos using the app, and it was displaying them instantly. There are no limits to the amount of photos you can load, and you can customize messages with each photo. And here's the deal. You can preload an Aura frame with photos and have it directly sent to that special person in your life, gift wrapped and all. There will be no price tag, and you can include a personalized message. Think about it. All those photos from this past summer's family reunion delivered in a digital frame. That is pretty cool. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code TASTE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code TASTE. The deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. As a food writer, I can be a little skeptical about subscription cooking boxes you hear about on podcasts. There's big talk about cooking simplicity, but you're usually left with disappointment after smashing that promo code. Now, Clayton, have you ever tried one of those subscription boxes?
Yeah, Matt, my friend gave me a code for that one that has all the chopped vegetables in little baggies. I felt like a drug dealer trying to cook dinner.
Yeah, man, I have so been there. ButcherBox is a true exception. I was sent a box of premium beef and pork and was blown away by the quality and variety. There was 100% grass-fed pasture-raised ribeye, tri-tip, and ground sirloin for my favorite at-home smash burger recipe. George Moats, you better watch your back. For pork, they sent me a beautiful center-cut pork loin for slow roasting. I was super impressed, and I haven't even talked about the ribs, which I cooked in my Instant Pot. There was a rub of salt, white pepper, and togarashi, and I pressure cooked with water and apple cider vinegar. It was incredible. These ButcherBox ribs are amazing. For nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free. As an exclusive offer, our listeners can get free protein in every box for a year, plus $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/taste. Visit butcherbox.com/taste to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/taste. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
On This Is Tasty, we ask guests about their discerning taste. So to close this interview, here's a little rapid-fire, fast and furious taste check. Are you ready?
I am ready.
The best fruit.
So I have two best fruits, and I apologize. I know you just want one. So my more common, readily available fruit that I would die for is the peach. Mm-hmm. I think peaches are perfect when they're right and they're in season. The balance of meaty texture that I really love, super juiciness. It's just aromatic enough, and it's really high acidity. Yeah. A lot of people don't think it has a high acidity, but that's why it tastes so balanced.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah. Of course, it has a great acidity, and it's just like acidity is like on the forefront of biting into a great peach. Yeah. It's one of the first things you taste.
So good. So good. So that's one of my faves, or my top fruit. This one that I can't get very often, but when I do, I am incredibly excited, is the mangosteen.
Oh, yeah.
It's just creamy. It's just an incredible fruit to me. So I just love it. It's like this little purple racquetball. Yeah. You crack open and those perfect white cloves in there. Yeah. And they are but they also have really good acidity, but sweet. But the aroma and is just incredible. So whenever I see mangosteen, I buy it.
Worst vegetable.
Worst vegetable. This isn't original, but I'm going to stand by it. I think it's zucchini. Yeah. I really, my mom, God bless her, she's a good cook and a great baker, but would cook zucchini into basically mush. Yeah. And I have that still in my mind. Yeah. And so a good pasta alla Norano is really nice, but I would almost always want another vegetable in the
me
mix
too. There's no amount of pecorino that can save a bad watery zucchini.
Yeah, for sure. And zucchini bread, I'd rather have carrot, or something like that. So I'm going to stick with it.
What is your typical breakfast?
My typical breakfast is usually pretty savory. I'll either do savory oats or rice. And I do a lot of smoked fish. So I'll do smoked fish on rice or on savory oatmeal. I also just love cooking eggs. I thought about this the other day. I think I might like cooking eggs even more than I like eating them. Yeah. But I love the action of preparing an egg and watching it turn into something. It's sort of the process of waking up. So I'll do an egg on top of.
Are we talking about scrambled eggs? That really is your kink?
It's my kink. Yeah. I know. I love it all. I love fried eggs. I love making omelets. I love scrambled eggs. I do a wok scrambled egg that takes me probably 20 seconds in the wok. And it's these sheets of egg basically form. It's so delicious.
Are you cooking with any stock with that egg? Or is it just a neutral oil?
Neutral oil, salt. I add a pinch of MSG to my eggs. Yeah. There's certain foods like potatoes and eggs, but I feel they need a little MSG in there. So, but it's that. It's super, super simple. And I'll put it on, whatever savory carb I have around.
The hot wok egg is perfect. The best dessert?
The best dessert is, this is an easy one. It's obviously ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream is incredible, and you can pair it with a piece of pie sometimes, and that's good too. But the texture is incredible. I love ice cream.
Great call. A restaurant you wish you could bring back from the dead?
Oh, boy. There's a restaurant that's dying right now in Boston. I just found out this week. That
Even better, honestly. Yeah. Shout it out.
So it's
hit Resi.
It's Fugakyu. It's in Brookline, and it's been around for 27 years in the same family. And it is the perfect level of Japanese restaurant. It's not just sushi. It's much broader than that. And they do tons of amazing stuff flown in and fresh, but it's not the high end omakase that's you can only go once a year. It's a regular place. And my friend Kyla texted me about it and was now that you know this, you're going to be crying on the podcast. I'm so sorry. Everyone's going to tell that you're really sad. But anyway, I think I would love to save it. I'm not sure we'll be in time. Seems like it's happening very soon.
Let's save it. Hit that, smash that Resi.
Smash it. Get in there.
Get in there.
Bostonians, make it happen.
Make it happen. When you're craving fast food, where are you going?
My favorite, I don't know if this counts because it's so elevated, but I love Shake Shack. Yeah. Shake Shack is my kind of perfect version of it all. Yeah. But my girlfriend's gotten me into Taco Bell. It was never something I grew up with, but she'll be shocked that I'm saying this, but it's really good.
Brother, you come over to the you're with family here. I love Taco Bell.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And what's cool about Taco Bell, I'm sure you can appreciate how many menu items they can they can do from like kind of the same mise en place. Like,
it's true.
That they've had for 20 years. They're just like rethinking the same mise en place.
But it's also, but they're also like, there's nothing wasted on the menu. Like
Definitely
everything's really good. Yeah, it's great.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool girlfriend. That's a keeper right there.
She always
That's a
wants to
keeper.
go.
Your favorite city outside America to visit for food?
Man, there's so many. So I finally got to go to San Sebastian this year over the summer, and it's one of those places that's so hyped up, especially in the food world. So I was a little bit like, is this going to be overhyped for me? But it wasn't. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah. That sort of incredible focus on ingredients. Nothing stuffy about anything. I had a great meal at Muka, which is like right on the water there.
Yeah.
And incredible. There's so much craft behind it, but like everything's really approachable and nice. So,
did you have some great beef?
I did actually.
Yeah,
yes, we went to a beautiful cider place and had this incredible ribeye that was like, really, really good.
I love that Basque beef. It's amazing.
It is really incredible.
Last one, your favorite sandwich?
That's actually an easy one too. I think the BLT is a perfect sandwich. And for me, I like a BLT that is on white bread, often not even toasted.
Yeah.
I want that to be really soft. I need thin, crispy bacon. A really thick slice of tomato that's really well seasoned with salt and pepper, like a nice heirloom, and a few slices of iceberg lettuce.
Yeah, and then
mayonnaise, and like an obscene amount of mayonnaise.
Homemade, or are you going industrial?
I love homemade mayonnaise,
Yeah.
But I also love industrial mayonnaise, whether it's Duke's or Hellman's. I probably wouldn't do Kewpie on it. It's maybe a little too savory, but like between Hellman's and Duke's, would love that.
And I love the choice of not toasting.
Yeah,
I'm with you 100%. I like squishy. Well, if it's white bread, like let it live its life as bread,
yes,
not toast.
Yeah,
squishy bread is so much better when it comes to that white bread.
And you've got lettuce and bacon inside for the crisp. Like
totally,
everything can't be the crisp,
Yeah.
So
you need the contrast.
I like the contrast.
We are aligned on the BLT.
Yeah. We got to go get a BLT sometime.
I'd love that. Dan Souza, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining This Is Taste.
Thanks for having me.
This is Taste is hosted and produced by Eliza Barbanal and me, Matt Rodbard. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Episode portraits by Louise Zergan Pomeroy. Logo design by Ellie Skirzat and Ian Dingham. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. One of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.